I was wondering if the U.S. Embassy investigates Mexicans who apply with Guatemalan citizenship for American visa. I was wondering all of this because the requirements are criminal and police records, but they never investigate if they are they have any game, they're playing any game with the American visas and all that stuff. Something I'm going through without my consentment. So I wonder all of this because I realized in my neighborhood there are Mexicans who say they are Guatemalans. I don't know if they have the Guatemalan citizenship, but I realized it there. Some of them act as if they don't like me. I don't care about it, but let's say it in the dark, without, behind my back, you might say it in English, they talk to people who they showed me that they want to go to the U.S. I also realized there are the coyotes, the real coyotes, not the coyotes they talk about in their publicity and the ads in the radio, the spot in the radios. They talk about that they have to cross illegally the Mexico-U.S. border. No, I'm not talking about those coyotes. I'm talking about the coyotes people who you see at first glance. If they went to the U.S. Embassy, they would decline the visa to those people. So, that's the question I have. Because instead of waiting in Mexico, a lot of people to apply for American visa, they could go to Guatemala where there are less people and they could apply easily for an American visa. So I don't know if they investigate all of this or just you have enough money to go to the U.S. and you have no problems with the law, which means you have no criminal or police records in Guatemala, and that's it. You have the American visa. You can go to the U.S. If that's the case, that's why this situation is going through. It's happening, and I'm going through all of this. So that's why I'm asking this, because I realized there are Mexicans here in Guatemala. Talking of which, there is a guy, I have already talked about him since I returned to Guatemala. I realized in Mexico he's Mexican. He says that he is the brother of the woman or the lady. He's the brother of the lady who gave birth to my brother's son. They never got married. So that's why I'm saying the lady who gave birth to my brother's son. So, I don't know if he's waiting for her to be able. Just a second. Well, I'm talking about him. It's not like I'm gossiping. No, I'm just telling the truth. He says he's her brother, which is a lie. Even in Mexico, in Tamaulipas, they let me know that they knew he's not Guatemalan. My name is Freddy, and I'm going to visit my sister. So he was planning to go to the U.S. with an American visa, being Mexican, being in Guatemala. He got married to a Guatemalan. See? And my nephew, he went to the U.S. after he fractured my jaw. So, which means they know what really happened. They know what really happened, and that's why I'm telling all of this, because it seems like they caused this situation so that I'd go to the U.S. and there would be no one who could talk about this. See? So, there are Mexicans in my neighborhood, new Mexicans who came to Guatemala to apparently keep an eye on me. But they have let me know with their attitude that they are waiting for this lady who gave birth to my brother's son to be able to receive the children of this guy who says he's her brother, which is a lie, and so that they or my nephew could receive them in the U.S. So it's something that's going on here, and I didn't realize about it. The thing is that ever since I came back to Guatemala, it's hard for me to focus on thinking what else is happening, and I didn't realize of that. Because I'm not getting any benefit out of all of this. And it's not fair that I'm going through this situation when I'm not getting any benefit at all. So that's why I decided to talk about this. As you already know, I live in security too. Yes, as in Sam. A as in angle. K as in key. E as in Edward. R as in R as in rapid. T as in tomato. I as in igloo. 2 like 1, 2. I want to make it clear because I don't want anyone to take advantage of this situation. So I have already stated my grandma died, my mom died, one of my uncles from my mom's family side died out of nowhere. They get sick out of nowhere and they die. I got diabetes, they fractured my jaw. I don't want anyone to get advantage of all of this situation. That's why I'm recording all of this. It's not like I don't want them to go to the US. No. They're trying to take advantage of all of this situation, and I just realized that my uncle, my aunt's husband, my aunt from my mom's family side husband, he He's the owner of my grandparents' house. See, the thing is that his brother, he acts as if he doesn't like me, and there are people who always acted as if they didn't like me. Ever since I was a child, they were acting as if they didn't like me. But they are always talking to him, and they behave in a strange way, like trying to let me know or mocking of me without me knowing why they're doing it. So there are houses, there are possibility of going to the US, just a second, that they're trying to get, and there are people who died. And in my case, I was harmed because they wanted to go to the US. So there are people, I don't know if they're Mexicans, but they had children without thinking if they had the patrimony to leave to their children. See? So something I realized when when I came back to Guatemala was that they think they have a priority because they have children. It's like, we know that maybe we didn't have to have these children, but now we have this responsibility and we should have the resources. Okay, you can try to get the resources, but it doesn't mean that you can take advantage of people. Because maybe in those times when our great grandparents, let's say like 5 generations before, when they didn't know that by having sex they would bring a child to this world, you could have believed, well, maybe they didn't know what they were doing. But they did, just a second. So, but nowadays they know what they do. And in spite of knowing what they were doing, they decided to bring children to this world. And no one else but themselves have responsibility on those children. Because they are always trying to make that I have told in these audios that they caused the death my mom said. So I hope that they don't go through this situation. But if they go through this situation, realizing that they caused the death of your mom, they will know how it feels. You see? So most of them are Mexicans here in Guatemala. I guess I have already said everything. I have already taught everything. But it's not fair to go through this situation and thinking and other people thinking that they could take advantage of that. Because I'm having problems getting stable job. I'm struggling to continue studying this year just because of that. And it's not fair. What am I gonna do? I'm almost 40 years old. So that's why they created all this situation, and I won't stop saying it because it's the truth. I have already found an old man who said, I met your father He was a great friend of mine, and I don't know him. He says he lives in my neighborhood, but I don't know him. I've never seen him in my neighborhood. So I don't know if they were trying to do something against me. Because that's what I've heard. Even last night I heard Mexicans saying they don't want him to go out because they are going to try to do something to him. Like when they say that in Spanish, it's like they are going to try to hurt you. And I have found people who have lived in the U.S. I have the right of free speech. I can give my opinion of whatever happens, even if I'm not in that place. But I have already been in the U.S. and I know what I'm talking about. You see? So, that's why I'm asking. If the U.S. Embassy investigates if the people who's applying for American visa or even to be sponsored, they are real Guatemalans or they only have the Guatemalan citizenship. Because all of these situations, all that I've been talking about in this area, it's true. But no one seems to talk about it. By the way, about this radio spot, they say there are people being raped in the border crossing illegally, the border crossing the Rio Grande or the Rio Bravo River. It's a big lie. Crossing the desert is a big lie. I have already been there, and I know what I'm talking about. And it's a lie because when you are trying to cross the Rio Grande River, there is a helicopter who they call the Mosquito. And they know that you're trying to cross the Rio Grande. It's not a big piece of land between Coahuila and the Rio Grande. And you can cross closer to the international bridge, and the water level gets to your knees. So you don't need to go, you don't need to try to cross the Rio Grande from the deepest side. You can do it from the side of the international bridge. Crossing the desert is the same thing. They release drones around 8 p.m. in Coahuila, in the Rio Grande. They release drones in the desert around noon. Let's say 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And they can sense movement. If you move, those drones start following you. Trying to jump the border wall is the same thing. In less than 5 minutes, the border patrol arrives. When it comes to the Rio Grande River, they just take your biometrics data and they release you by the international bridge back to Mexico. Same thing happens in the desert. If you get to the parts where there are towers with electrical lines, the rangers find you. They call the border patrol, and they take you to their facilities. They take your biometrics and send you back to Mexico. Same thing trying to jump the border wall from Tijuana. There are 5 border walls. And in less than 5 minutes, the Border Patrol arrives. They can help you to cross the Mexico-U.S. border hidden inside a USB. But it's useless because if you arrive undocumented, even speaking English, which is my case, they don't let you get a job. They are organized. If you arrive undocumented, they don't let you get a job. All of that is just a lie, and that's why I'm talking about this, because they want to continue telling this lie that there are people trying to cross the desert, trying to cross the river, when the truth is that there are people like the coyotes. They say there are coyotes. People can sponsor now, and that's what they're trying to get, and that's why they started this game, to try to make the migrants in the U.S. to sponsor them to go to the U.S. if they lose this game. That's the truth. So the truth is that there are coyotes, there are people who sponsor them to get U.S. visa and sign a responsibility letter for this immigrant. They could be anyone. They wouldn't need to have money. There was a news this weekend. Guatemalan who died in Los Angeles, California. He wasn't Guatemalan. I saw his picture and he was Mexican. Anyone could tell he's Mexican. There are Mexicans coming here trying to get to be sponsored by someone from Guatemala playing those games, getting people who's not interested, just like me, to be in this situation to go to the U.S. I don't know if they don't think there are more countries that they should study. They should work in their country instead of playing those games. So that's why I'm telling all of this. Let's see if I remember what I said in English. Bueno, lo que me estaba preguntando es de que si la embajada americana averigua, investiga si las personas que están solicitando visa americana son realmente guatemaltecos o solamente tienen la ciudadanía guatemalteca. Lo pregunto porque, bueno, en mi caso, hay alguien que dice que es hermano de la mujer que le dio un hijo a mi hermano. No es que yo ande hablando de la vida de cualquier persona, pero él es mexicano. Y eso me lo dijeron en Tamaulipas. ¿Qué onda? Me llamo Freddy. Voy a visitar a mi hermana. No sabía por qué me estaban diciendo eso. Pues hay alguien en mi colonia, Secretidos, y estoy hablando porque incluso han estado hablando de que no quieren que salga a la calle porque están planeando hacer algo en contra de mí. Y que no salga a la calle porque le quieren hacer algo. Es lo que he estado escuchando. ¿Ya? Entonces, lo pasan diciendo. Lo han estado haciendo desde que regresé a Guatemala. Son mexicanos. De hecho, no sé ni siquiera por qué estoy hablando como mexicano. Pero me está saliendo el acento mexicano. Entonces, pues esta persona pues tuvo hijos con una guatemalteca, y lo que me han dado a entender estos mexicanos que han llegado a mi colonia, y de que están esperando pues de que esta mujer que se quedó en Estados Unidos y mi hermano se regresó pueda recibir a estos muchachos en Estados Unidos. Y también lo pregunto porque también hay mexicanos que yo no me había dado cuenta que eran mexicanos, que han tenido hasta mejor trabajo que yo. Aparte de eso, pues he estado batallando con obtener empleo. Simplemente pues te llamamos y a veces son trabajos que lo contratan uno fácil, ¿no? Entonces pregunto, porque no es justo de que, a pesar de que me hayan fracturado la mandíbula ahora tenga diabetes de la nada y vengan a querer tomar, a querer tener ventaja de esa situación. ¿Ya? Lo que quieren es tener el control de la migración porque había coyote en la colonia. Estamos hablando de los verdaderos coyotes. A las personas les obtenían visa americana y pues conseguían quien los patrocinara. Por eso es de que tienen un juego con la migración. ¿Ya? También lo digo por el anuncio de la radio que dicen de que tienen que cruzar el río Bravo y cruzar el desierto, saltar el muro fronterizo. Yo crucé el río Bravo y sé de que hay un helicóptero que lo llaman el Mosquito, que cuando ven de que uno está cruzando empieza a sobrevolar donde uno está. También sé de que sueltan drones a las 8 o 9 de la noche. Y también sueltan drones en el desierto alrededor del atardecer, 5, 6, 7 de la tarde noche. Y saltar el muro fronterizo, son 5 muros fronterizos en Tijuana. Y son en menos de 5 minutos llega la patrulla fronteriza. Eso de que lo violen a uno, todos lo saben. Todo lo que pasa se lo cuentan a uno. And that's something I didn't say in English. Everything that happens while you were trying to cross illegally the border, they know it in Mexico. Todo lo que pasa cuando uno está tratando de cruzar ilegalmente la frontera, todo lo saben en México. No sé qué brujería tienen hecha en la frontera, porque así me lo dijo un mexicano, pero saben todo lo que pasa cuando uno está cruzando la frontera. I don't know what witchcraft they have on the Mexico-US border. A Mexican told me that when I was in Mexico. But they know everything when you're trying to cross illegally the border. You listen to that? Every time I'm talking something about it, they do it with the vehicles, trucks, cars, SUVs. Y cada vez que hablo acerca de eso, de la brujería que tienen ahí en la frontera, hacen eso. Carros, camiones, camionetas. Entonces, también, volviendo a lo que estaba hablando anteriormente, pues falleció mi abuela, falleció mi mamá. Y a causa de esto me he dado cuenta de que era brujería lo que les habían hecho. Porque con la diabetes, pues me han demostrado de que es brujería. No tengo mucho tiempo porque se me alarga el audio. Entonces, solo lo digo así rápido. Las ganas de orinar que he tenido desde hace varios meses, que es en el mismo momento y la misma sed, de la nada me la quitaron un día. De la nada tomé agua y no estuve yendo al baño para nada. Igual el ojo que lo tengo como que se me hubiera lastimado. Hoy en la mañana amanecí como si nada. Solo sentí anoche como que hubiera tomado algo que hubiera sido venenoso y como que me estuviera causando la muerte. Como que unas garras grandes me estuvieran agarrando. Y hoy en la mañana amanecí como si nada. Yo no practico la brujería, pero me ha estado sucediendo esto desde que estuve en México. Y por eso es que lo quiero dejar claro, porque a veces sucede eso con familiares, porque mi mamá también estuvo enferma, pero yo no entendí por qué de la nada enfermó y luego falleció. Entonces sí lo quiero hacer público también. So with this thing, the diabetes, they showed me that it's witchcraft, that what they did to me, because one of these days starting this new year, 2026, out of nowhere, this urge I had to pee after drinking water ever since I got diabetes, since I have diabetes, it just disappeared. This urge to go to this urge to pee just vanished. You see? So same thing happened last night. I felt like as if I drank something. It was venomous, and I felt like, I don't know, I had this sensation, this feeling like I was dying, and something like cloth was releasing me. And this morning I woke up with my right eye like let's say like 1 or 2 years before, healthy. It was like, just a second. My eye was like it was hurt, but I never got hurt. I never hurt my right eye. So out of nowhere, this happened this morning. So I don't know. I don't practice witchcraft. All I know, this has been happening ever since I was in Mexico. So I know I shouldn't be telling lies, but I'm telling the truth. You know. So when I'm not saying that this has been happening since I was in Mexico, it's the truth. This has been happening since I was in Mexico. You see? So I just wanted to talk about it, because sometimes I'm thinking about to talk about it, and days go by, and then months go by, and I don't talk about it. But now I come to talk about this because I have the time. Y hablo de eso ahorita porque después estoy pensando en hablar de esto y no hablo y se va el tiempo. Los días pasan, los meses pasan. Entonces, por eso es que hablo. Entonces, también encontré un artículo de la diabetes que dicen en México que la causan con brujería. Pues lo que yo tengo es básicamente eso, creo, porque ya hice también el intento de tomar casi 10 litros de gaseosa, pero no me siento mal. No me pasa nada por tomar o comer cosas dulces. Entonces sí pueden causar la diabetes con brujería, pero no lo dicen. So I found an article on the newspaper online about diabetes, that they say in Mexico that they can cause it with witchcraft. Well, it seems like it's my case, and I want to find it out because no one talks about it. So, just to wrap it up, just wanted to ask those questions to the U.S. Embassy. Because even the guy who was offering me drugs in my own neighborhood here in Guatemala City, he's Mexican, and he told me he was Mexican. And they are still trying to go to the U.S. So he said he was from Security 1. SAKERTI 1. So I don't want any trouble. I don't want any problem. Just a second. I don't want any problem telling all of this information because I'm telling the truth. Otherwise, I wouldn't be wasting my time telling lies. But it's the truth. I don't know if they had any trades with other people from any other company, had any charge at any other company, and maybe that's why they're trying to make it hard for me to get a job. But everything I'm telling is the truth. I wouldn't be wasting my time. And if I had something to do with that, I would be brave enough to say, you know what, I had something to do with it, but I have nothing to do with that at all. They try to make it look like he was a drunkard. They did witchcraft to me to have problems with alcoholism. And they showed me that in Tijuana when they made threats of death to me. Entonces no quiero ningún problema por estar diciendo la verdad, porque incluso quien me ofreció droga en la misma colonia donde vivo, en Ciudad de Guatemala, él es mexicano y él me lo dijo que es mexicano. No sé si hicieron algún trato con gente de alguna empresa o alguien que tenga algún cargo en alguna empresa, pero es la verdad. No sé si por eso he tenido problemas para obtener empleo, porque ni siquiera mis familiares me han querido apoyar porque necesito tramitar documentos para buscar empleo. Something else that's been happening is that not even my relatives want to help me to carry out processes to get documents to look for a job. So I don't know what trades they made with people from any other companies, but this is what's been happening. I've been having a really hard time trying to find a job, and I have little money. Entonces, solo para terminar el audio, pues no sé qué tratos habrán hecho con gente de alguna compañía o algo por el estilo, alguien que tenga algún cargo en alguna compañía, pero esa es la verdad, porque me han mostrado con gente que se parece a gente de mi colonia y de la otra colonia que han tenido cargos en algunas empresas, o parece que supuestamente se fueron de Guatemala y por alguna temporada. Because they have showed me with people who look physically like my neighbors in my neighborhood, or the neighbors of the other neighborhood, that they went temporarily out of Guatemala. They went temporarily abroad. Don't know if it's true. It's all for the audio. Eso es todo por el audio.